Hello, Monarchs. Welcome to the homework help video for worksheet 3.3. If you have not watched the videos for lesson 3.3, please go back and do that now. They're on my YouTube channel. Okay. They're also linked on Thursday of week 6. Okay. So we're doing Foundations for IM, Unit 3, Worksheet 3.3. It is solving multi-step equations and then graphing them just like we did in the notes. Okay. So first, let's go over which ones we're going to complete. You're going to complete all of number 1, which is all of the front, because it's really good practice. And we're going to complete all of number 2. Okay, all of number 2. But we are not going to complete the review questions today. We do not need to complete the review questions today, okay? So we have to do every single one except the review questions, so we can just put a giant X through the review questions. All right. So I'll do 1 or 2 with you guys. It looks like E might be a little bit challenging, so I'm going to go ahead and do E with you guys. All right. So first thing I always want to do is draw my line straight down. So I'm going to do that. And then I want to think, do I have distributed property? I do not have any parentheses, so I do not have distributed property. So I know I need to move what is not attached to my variable. As you can see, this 2 is attached to my variable. It's right underneath it, right? It's dividing my variable. So this -7 is not attached to my variable, so I need to move it to the other side of the equal sign. I'm going to do that by doing the opposite, which would be a +7. So I'm going to add 7 to both sides. -3 plus 7 would be a +4. I'm going to bring down that less than or equal to sign. These 2 cancels out, and now I have x over 2. So I have 4 is less than or equal to x over 2. Now I have to know, what is this 2 doing to this x? It looks like a fraction, and I should know that every fraction is actually a division problem. Excuse me. So I know that this 2 is actually dividing my x. So the opposite of division would be multiplication. So in order to move this to the other side of the inequality sign, I have to multiply both sides by 2. Okay? Because when I multiply this by 2, these cancel out because we did the opposite operation. Okay? 4 times 2 would be 8. So I have 8 is less than or equal to x. Okay? Now I want to move my x around because this is a lot harder to graph than my x being on the left. So really, if I wrote this like this, the sign is open towards the x. So I want to make the sign open towards the x. So it's x is greater than or equal to 8. Now it's a lot easier to graph. Okay, so I'm going to find 8. I'm going to put a closed dot over 8 because there is that line underneath my inequality sign. But if I look at my inequality sign and drew a tail off of it, you would see that my arrow needs to go this way. Okay, so that is what 1E looks like for you guys. All right, I'm going to flip it over now. So number 2 says to translate the following verbal inequality, so the following words, into algebra and solve for the variable. After solving, we will graph the inequality on the number line provided. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and translate this, and then we will solve it. I'm going to do B with you guys, okay? So it says 7, so I'm going to write 7 is greater than or equal to, so greater than or equal to, that's my greater than or equal to sign, -3 times a number, so -3 times a number, let's use n, -1. Okay, that is what my inequality should look like. Now to solve that, I'm going to draw my line straight down. I have no distributive property because there are no parentheses. I cannot same side simplify. All of my variables are on one side already, so I need to just get n by itself. So the first thing I'm going to do is add 1 to both sides of the equal sign. That's supposed to be a 1. Okay, and that's because this is a -1. In order to move it, I have to do the opposite, so I'm going to add 1. The opposite of a -1 would be a +1, so I'm going to add 1 to both sides. So that cancels out, and I'm left with -3n. Now I have 8 is greater than or equal to -3n. This -3 is multiplying my variable. So in order to move it, I need to do the opposite. The opposite of multiplication would be division. It's going to divide both sides by -3. Divide both sides by -3. So now I have n is less than or equal to, because that's the way the sign is pointing. 8 divided by -3 is not going to be a whole number. So let me put it on my calculator, and we'll see 8 divided by -3 is, okay? It's 2.67, and it's going to be negative. Okay. So then I would find 2.67. It's going to be, or negative 2.67 is going to be between -2 and -3. I'm going to do a close dot, right? Because it has an equal sign. It has this line underneath. And I know my arrow is going to be pointing towards the left. Okay. So that is what that graph will look like. All right. Please email me if you have any questions or attend tutorial from 3 to 6 Monday through Friday. Thank you guys for watching.